Hello, folks. Just checking in. Happy Friday. So, if you've taken a look at the syllabus closely, you're going to notice that this is us this week. We just got started thinking about solutions and substance compositions. But we're going to do a little bit more with that next week, specifically in preparation for you to be able to do your empirical formula lab. And then we're going to tackle stoichiometry, which is chapter 4. But then I want you to notice that the week right after that, so 2 weeks away, is your first exam for chapters 1 through 4. So I think there are a couple of ways that you can prepare for exam 1. The first way is critical because it actually, if you take a look at iLearn, is super important for your success. So I'm going to switch to student role just so you can see what it looks like from your vantage point. So if you scroll down, there are 2 resources that I want you to check out. The first is your weekly learning outcomes. Those are super critical to your success. But we're going to focus today on these workbooks. So there's workbook links, one for each of you. It's individualized. It's actually personalized to you. And so if you click on the links by your last name, you should be able to find the workbook that applies to you. The reason why it's really important that we take a look at this is the following. So I want to introduce you to this workbook. This is your learning chemistry workbook for Chem 110. And there are a couple of features of this that I want you to notice. One are these tabs. So far we're up to week 3. And if you haven't started this, that's okay. You'll have time to get there, but it's important that you start. In week 1, you're just going to personalize your notebook. So you're going to put in your last name and your first name. There's actually some Google or YouTube instructions for how to use this workbook and the activities, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. You're just going to list 5 ways or strategies that you already use to learn science. And then I want you to check out the Learning Scientist. It's a great resource. In week 2, you're going to do a screenshot assignment. So I want you to think about how you organize information. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You might find an image that already exists, or maybe you want to create your own. But we want you to pick something that represents learning chemistry, how you organize knowledge. And that can be something that you create, right, or something that you find. And that's really important because you have some choice here in terms of how you organize your knowledge. We talked before about the chemist triangle. There's an example of that here. That would be a really great example of how you organize knowledge. But this idea of your knowledge framework is really critical. And what I want you to notice here is that this assignment is worth 5 points. So some of these are worth 5 points. As we get a little bit further along, some of them are worth more. But the big takeaway is that this learning workbook is equivalent to 1 exam. So completing this workbook in its entirety is worth 1 exam grade in the total of your assessments. Now, there's something else that I think is really important for you to do. And that is this self-assessment where you're thinking about what it is you already know and what you need to review. So you're going to notice here, right, for week 2, there was an opportunity for you to self-evaluate. So thinking about, do you know about prior knowledge? Do you know about knowledge frameworks and schema? Do you know about metacognition and reflection or context and culture? Are those all things that you're familiar with and the way that they influence learning? If not, that's okay. We're going to have the opportunity to explore those as we learn Chem 110 or learn general chemistry this semester. But there are other concepts that are important for you to tackle too. States of matter, solutions, periodicity, bonding intermolecular forces. These are all things that we're going to cover in this class, and then there are a couple of items that you're going to see in Chem 111. So we're up to week 3 so far. So by week 3, I want you to be able to record the learning strategy that you're using as you're studying chemistry this week. So if you don't have a camera on your phone, and you can always ask a friend, but we want you to think about a brief strategy of how you use, right? How did you use it? How did you make sense of it? How long it took you to do that strategy as you were studying, and then anything that is memorable to you as you describe pictures. So I have an example here from a student who was studying intermolecular forces. They were thinking about types of bonds and the way that influences forces with respect to things like hydrogen bonds or covalent and ionic bonds. So where you went or what you did. Again, you can change this, how long it took, how did it feel, um, describe the picture, and then you're going to place your own photo here. So it's pretty simple and straightforward assignment. And again, this is really all about you connecting with your learning strategies, how you make sense of what you're learning. So this assignment is really critical because it's worth a significant portion of your grade cumulatively over the course of the semester. But much more importantly, it's emphasizing the way that you study chemistry. And it really takes advantage of those two critical pieces, which are metacognition, thinking about your thinking, and reflection. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. This is a really great resource for you. You don't want to miss out. Have a great one. Thanks again.